People with assets are not working people. This is according to our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. It's all over the headlines at the moment. Keir Starmer come out and said those with assets are not working people, and he is obviously plotting a position to try to tax wealth. And this is not just landlords, this is people who own shares, this is homeowners. I've done a previous video on this, have a look at that, where we talked about their plot to potentially put in a wealth tax on multiple people with assets. And it's because of their initial manifesto where they said they're not going to raise taxes for working class people. So he's come out and said, the Prime Minister, look, let's just read out from this article. The Prime Minister is asked to give his definition of a working people after Labour promised in its manifesto not to raise taxes on them. Carry on reading. Apologies, I'm a bit dyslexic, so in my reading it's not the greatest, so I apologise in advance. But Keir Starmer has hinted at a possible tax rise for those who own shares and assets, saying they do not fit his definition as a working person. Prime Minister was asked to share his definition of a working person, and the people he would not increase taxes on. Let's just try and get through this a little bit more. The debate over the definition intensifies after the minister refused to rule out raising national insurance on employers as well. So they're going to hit businesses. So what they're going to try and do in the budget is say, instead of the working people paying more national insurance contributions, the owners of the companies will, which just squeezes the economy. And what that does, again, it says in this article, it has a trickle-down effect where now the owners of these companies cannot pay their staff as much money because they're putting more money into taxes towards the governments, and it stifles the growth of these businesses, which is just backwards. You should be encouraging growth, not trying to stifle growth, which this government, I don't know, just seem hell-bent on trying to stifle that and not encourage it. The thing is, I've done another video on this as well, that there's more millionaires leaving the country than we've had in, like, I don't know how, I don't think never. You know, I think 9,000 millionaires are set to leave the UK. That is not good for the UK economy. On average, we used to be losing about 2 to 3 millionaires per year emigrating, and there's just loads of talks around just this wealth. They've stopped the non-doms residency thing where they're double taxating people, and this doesn't encourage infrastructure and growth within the country. What it does, it encourages people with money to just piss off. It disencourages people to go and earn money because you kind of penalising success. It's absolutely backwards. So asked by Sky News policy editor Beth, whatever her name is, whether he would classify a working person as somebody whose income comes from basically assets such as shares or property, the Prime Minister said, well, they wouldn't come within my definition, you know. So absolutely bonkers. Love to hear in the comments what your thoughts are. Do you think landlords, and like, there's a misconception like about landlords got these piles and piles of money that they can just throw into taxes. They work, they have to work on it, they take the risk of buying these assets, they home people when the government and councils can't, because there's not enough homes being built by the government to home people. So this is absolutely crazy. So let's have a look further on. Like, so he's talking about at the moment, they're talking about inheritance taxes, changes on the estates when they hand it over to somebody, capital gains, possibly getting hit. These are all wealth asset owning attacks. So if you own a home in your own name or you own it in a company, they're going to try and raise more and more taxes from you in any which way they can. There used to be a capital gains tax allowance of £12,000 per year. That's already been dropped to £3,000 per year at the moment. And they're saying any shares that you own outside of an ISA as well, they're looking to potentially try and get some sort of tax from that. And again, this is ludicrous. This is people that took risks, they've earned money, they've paid taxes on that money they've earned, and they put that earned taxed paid money back into assets that help their future, their pension plans, and they take an ultimate risk by doing that. And then you just want to tax more on money that you've used with tax money, which is not a certain income as well, which in my view is just totally unethical. Let's go on to see if there's any parts in here. There's more. Number 10 said the people who have small amounts of savings in stocks and shares still can as working people, and that the Prime Minister was referring to somebody who primarily gets their income from assets. So they're trying to reverse that and trying to talk the way out of it, because it's blown up and it's a really bad comment, and rightly so. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, has refused to rule out increasing like these increases on all the areas they're talking about. So in this next budget, we've got this mini budget in days from now. Love to hear in the comments where you think it's going to go. Do you think they're going to go really hard on this? How do you think it's going to affect, as property investors, how do you think this is going to affect the property market? Do you think this is an opportunity, or do you think this is a problem? Are you exiting the market? We've got more landlords exiting the market than entering. The challenge is as well, in areas where properties, I got this other day, you landlords are buying properties, driving the price up. In areas where people can't afford to live, landlords don't buy in them areas anymore anyway, because they just don't make math they don't make good math on the returns. Ultimately, the properties that people want to buy, they're just priced out, and as more landlords exit the market, especially in these areas where are really expensive, the rents are going up, and as a result of the rents going up and the deposits already being large, people just can't save up for the deposits to live there anyway. So people are, like, largely, these are not feeding back to the people that everybody thinks this is going to help by squeezing landlords. It's actually hurting them. If the government had built enough properties to help the supply and demand load, there wouldn't be a market for the private rented sector. It'd be very small. The reason there's a big private rented sector is because there's not enough homes to rent, because the government haven't built enough homes. Our target has been 300,000 homes for the last 3 decades, and around 150 to 200,000 have been built on average each year for 3 decades. So you do the math, and if there's more, like you think about it, last year alone, I think under 200,000 got built. But the immigration was bigger than that, the net immigration. And I've got nothing against immigration. My dad come from the Caribbean, so I've got nothing against that. But ultimately, you've got to look at supply and demand. People are living longer. And you look at how many properties the government built when we come out of World War II in a similar deficit of a debt coming out of World War II as today. They built 300,000 per year. And out of them 150 to 200,000 that getting built per year, the government built about 10,000 per year homes. We've just not got enough stock, and there's a need for the private rented sector. Had the government met that need, there wouldn't be a need for people like myself and landlords, but they didn't. And people targeting landlords because the government didn't do their job correctly, and now the government are using it as cheap little vote winning points. It's just like, you need to look at it on a deeper kind of level. But listen, I'd love to hear your views on this. Going to be an interesting time. Love to hear if you think it's an opportunity or not. I believe it's a massive opportunity. There's a few more hurdles and loopholes to jump over, but ultimately rents are going through the roof. The rise of rents is outpacing the rise of interest rates, and although they are coming down again, the buying opportunity where there's more professional people in the market, it's much better for professional people. When you're competing against people that are amateurs and don't really know what they're doing, this is what drives the market wild, because yeah, it's really hard when somebody's letting a house out ridiculously and don't really know what they're doing, because it creates unneeded competition. So I think this is paving the way for professional people. If you want to be a professional person, if you want to work with us, we've still got loads of investors and not enough deals. So if you want to leverage my investor list, come along, let me train you up to find deals, and I will match you directly with investors. If you're interested in that, put in the comments investors, and I'll give you a link to get a bit more information and book a call with my team or myself. But listen, if you're still here, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you watch this next video that YouTube suggestion. My advice: live my terms. Mission to help as many people live on their terms. And remember, if you don't evolve your ideas, you never live on your own terms. So evolve your ideas, live on your own terms, and have an amazing day.